Greetings, everyone. Welcome to our third webinar of the 2025 IEEE Metaverse Grand Challenge Series. In this, the webinar, and we should focus on that how to build the future of learning through the simulation ideas for smart classrooms. Today, we have an invited speaker, Gustavo. I want to just introduce his side actually, and before just giving the floor. It is honor to introduce our distinguished speaker today, a telecommunication engineer from the University of Uruguay and certified project management professional. Gustavo holds an MBA with honors from the Catholic University of Uruguay and a postgraduate degree in electronic design engineering from Philips Eindhoven, Netherlands. He is a life senior member of IEEE and HCAN member, a PMI reviewer for the 7th edition of the PMA book guide. He currently serves as an editor-in-chief of the IEEE Value publication, Technology and Engineering Management Body of Knowledge. As In addition, with over 25 years of experience in telecommunications, IT, and network systems, he has served in technical and managing roles at Siemens, Hewlett Packard, and Cisco in Uruguay. He has also lead projects involving PVR, smart city platforms, and IoT sensor integration. Academically, he has delivered lectures on the data transmission as a professor for over 15 years at Universidad della Repubblica Católica University of Uruguay and Oreto University. He is also instructor for the ITU's virtual course on next generation networks. He has been a featured speaker at numerous IEEE events, including IEEE Eurocon, ComSoc conferences across Mexico, Chile, Colombia, and Panama, as well as a speaker at TEMCON LATAM in both last year and this year. Yeah, thank you so much for that kind of presentation, Professor Gustavo. Please join me in warmly welcoming Professor Gustavo. Yeah, that's floor your side, actually.
Thank you for the introduction. Let's go to the spot. This is a kind of agenda. We'll see some simulation learning tools, algorithm, the advantage of augmented and virtual reality in education and contest, and gamification as well. A little bit of everything here. So let's say, why embrace simulation-driven learning? Well, actually, it's the most adaptive and deeply immersive platform that you can have to mirror real-life environments. It can boost everything from engagement, retention, understanding, complex subject, deep level or introductory level, everything you want. Smart classroom simulation with technology like AI and artificial intelligence and augmented reality. So we will dip a little bit on AI as well, because it's part of the metaverse interaction with the virtual reality. One of the most important part of the learning is it can adjust by AI to the specific student base. That means if you are a secondary school student or university or a PhD candidate, you will have different responses from AI. So the algorithms adapt exactly to the individual performance. And actually addressing different learning needs and style will be seen in this webinar at the end with one simple example in 3 different scenarios, okay? So what is most important for learners is they receive feedback and custom ways based on their performance, so they can improve individually according to their background. Of course, artificial reality, virtual reality, extended reality technologies is the key part of this metaverse idea. So why in education? Because it motivates, reduce barriers, an improved understanding from every student, either is in the first part of the career or is in the early stage of their career. So we can simulate everything from historical events, science lab, or 3D abstract concepts. The learners can explore and engage with a virtual model, can play without touching anything, but it's like touching everything. So it's very interactive, the result of this immersive environment. Also with the gamified learning. Why? Because it's more enjoyable and emotionally engaging. People from, I have, let's say, a son is 7 years old and he's every day playing with the PlayStation because he's engaged so much. And we can take that advantage to introduce missions into learning, persistence, competition, and real world problem solving with rewards. So this is the basic of our contest in Metaverse. We can do it everything just by turning challenges via gamified learning as well. It's very important for the education to have a constant feedback for the teacher and also for the students to see how is the class performing. There are some applications that listen all the conversations during the class and then tells the teacher, well, 90% of the speech was yours. You should enable more student participation, or reverse, you talk too little. You let everyone speak and you don't speak. So it can adjust the behavior of the teacher and also for the students. So you can see whether the audience was engaged, if they reply properly the questions that you pose and things like that. So you can engage in continuous improving based in data from real situations during the classroom. So the feedback loops is one of the advantage for teachers and students. For the group, teamwork are very important, social learning dynamics. So students get prepared for environment in cooperation with multidisciplinary teams. So in their future careers, they will face to cooperate with other disciplines like not only engineers, but doctors, psychiatrics. You can imagine any profession that will interact in a multidisciplinary team. So this kind of simulation platforms for group learning prepares the students for environments to play a mimic of real world challenges with different aspects of the challenges that the world is facing. It's very important to keep the interface intuitive and accessible for all users. It's not possible to make some complex designs so the student can get out of the instruction because he does not understand the rules or they are too complex to follow. So the simulation should be aligned with the results and the curriculum goal the professor have in mind. So you can have a branching pathway for different level of understanding, and focus on storytelling is also good to get a connection, emotional connection, and memorize the things. So the interface again should be intuitive and accessible for every student. Let us compare different methods of traditional learning versus metaverse training. You have in the left the aspect, I mean, the concept, the dimension you want to address. In the center, you have the traditional learning, for instance, face-to-face in the second row for interaction, face-to-face, in-person discussion. I will not read all the table, but I will recommend not to take as two options that are exclusive, they are inclusive. That means content delivery, textbook, lecture, whiteboard will also be used, not just virtual reality experience. You can build a university just by virtual reality experience. Well, the answer is no. You also need to teach the students to learn from textbooks and make lectures and use the whiteboards for real cases. Accessibility, of course, if you are in traditional learning, the infrastructure is quite a problem. In the metaverse, you need the global access, internet, good bandwidth, etc. And Google's, in the case you want to use virtual reality, immersive, etc. Well, the cost, the learning methods, basically the traditional is about listening, note taking, and taking exams. But in the metaverse, you have to do things, you have to experiment. Your exams is just to interact with simulated situations, but taken from the real world. So it's much more exciting. So take your time to read this, and we can have at the end some questions and answers, and discuss whether how much from traditional learning should be remain and how much from the metaverse training should be taken. Because remember, in the case of metaverse, you are highly dependent on devices, internet, and of course from ethics. We will take that concept more ahead because there are some warning signs on the road ahead. Okay, so have a look at it, take a snapshot picture of this, and let's discuss at the end. Let's show some examples, few examples of simulation ideas that can be used either for actual training in universities or high schools, and also to implement contests. So some examples are a virtual science lab to make chemistry experiments or physics. You can see in the example I'm going to introduce in the next slides, one-to-one coaching in math. So you can interact with the machine asking what you need, and she or he, depends on the sex you want to put in the machine, she will guide you, yes, on your learning path. The machine adapts to your responses, and it's a real tutor that simulates in one-to-one coaching for every different person, every different solution. So you can have city building games to teach science, environmental, the climate change, the energy consumption optimization, the smart grid, etc. So you can build games. So in the classroom, people interact with real concept, but using games. That's quite interesting for them. Additional ideas. Interplanetary learning station. Students can learn astronomy, physics, how to colonize planet and to conduct zero-gravity experiments, believe it or not. Ethic and law courtroom simulator. Students can play the role of lawyers, judges, and jurors, so they will feel themselves the ethic concept in real case studies. Neural learning journey in metaverse simulation visualize the brain in 3D, so they can explore neural networks, not just the electronic neural networks, but the physical brain. Can simulate learning processes and interact with the functions of the brain. It's quite impressive. You can have interplanetary ethics, neural learning. You can have a personal mentor in a dream world, can design a space where all members are guided through custom learning quests. So it's like playing with the game. More ideas, Eduverse, universe of knowledge realms. open world metaverse education platform to represent everything: math, mountains, history, harbor, climate change, pollution, everything you can imagine in the world. Uh, can also work in eco-friendly city using simulation tools, resources, represent solutions to encourage collaboration, system thinking, that is quite important for them, and urban planning awareness. AI-powered personal tutor avatar can interact with an avatar that offers adaptive quizzes, coaching, tailored content based on student performance and results. As you see, there are a lot of ideas to use AI and metaverse in the classroom. Historical role play with artificial reality, gamified math challenge arenas, virtual science lab, story world builder. So they learn logic, ethics, they learn critical thinking, everything by interactive way. They just don't read the book and repeat the lesson. They interact with the real situations, challenges. If you need more ideas, here you are. You can play a digital debate arena with avatar judges. Yes, they can prepare a class to discuss a debate, and speech analytics provides feedback on the clarity of the person that is doing the tone, the persuasion. In that case, I myself could have implemented that, and then the system could tell me, well, you were not persuasive, you were not clarity, your tone was a bit weak, so I can improve my performance in the next webinars. Classroom hackathons to solve a local problem. So the student present a problem and they build a hackathon, okay? So they learn to implement innovation, teamwork, and problem solving, but real cases. They don't have to go to the actual scenery from the physical world, but they interact in a virtual world. Virtual mentor quest, I will show you later some examples. Digital citizen simulator. Well, we should stop with this because there are endless examples of ideas. These are just the 15 main ideas for how to implement that in the classroom. Some examples, not just global concepts. Conmigo, Khan Academy. Try that. Tutor and teaching based on GPT, very important. So students get engaged, depend on their adaptation to the challenges, and there is some literature support explaining how this AI power Conmigo is working. Grammarly, everyone knows Grammarly. Yes, but maybe Turnitin is also to be used to feedback originality and suggestion in some Moodle platforms, for instance, they can include Grammarly or Turnitin. So it reduced the teacher workload, automating administrative low-level feedback. And students receive instant feedback promoting self-directed learning. For instance, if they use Grammarly, they are learning how to write well, how to use the commas properly, the tenses, the proper structure of the phrases they are creating in real time. Grammarly is a real great application. Century Tech, this is based in England. So it's for neuroscience, it's just for K2 secondary education. So it combines assessment on diagnostics to create personalized learning. And it has data dashboard for teachers, so they can see the track progress and the intervention on the topic. It offers content in many disciplines like math, English, science, and more. Iris.ai, research assisted for scientific recovery. that read and understand large volume of research paper. For instance, instead of going by hand reading one by one 100 papers, you can ask this system to help you. So this system can identify relevant and knowledge gaps, offers a researcher workspace to extract and generate summaries. So it can be personalized because it saves during literature review adapting to domain, and it's especially valuable for PhD students in science that have to read a lot of papers before doing their work. So the alternative is time and effort by reading everything together and make yourself, or ask some help from this research assistant for scientific discovery. In conclusion, AI and Metaverse is enhanced learning. So education are still central. They are not replaced by machines. They are not replaced, but they have to know how to use it. Yes. So it's a kind of the most powerful assistant the educators can have. Yes. So some real examples are that one mentioned previously, but there are other examples. So let's see how simple ChatGPT or Gemini shows answers adapted to the context. So we have three cases here to complete. First case is the general public that listen to the expression correcting codes and have no clue what's that. Case B is a secondary school student, very curious, who heard in a program in TV space travel messages and code named Red Solomon. What's that? Red Solomon is more specific. And finally, we have case C, an engineering university student that needs a real complex explanation. So it will take different approaches for each of them. Case A, general public. What are error correcting codes? Well, you can read there when data is transmitted or recognized. I will not read that, but you can see there are some things called error correcting codes that are algorithms that work with the data so can detect and correct errors. What is included in this concept? Well, noise introduce errors. The bits can change when a 0 is received as 1 or vice versa, etc. Redundancy is another concept that is good to understand for the general public. Instead of sending just the data, you add extra redundancy in the message. So complete error correcting code methodology is not just for every general public. This gives an idea how the ChatGPT answers according to the prompt somebody asked. So I'm a general public, so I'm not engineer, etc. But I want to understand what is an error correcting code. Okay, so this is the right. Finally, the ChatGPT gives you tips for additional ideas so people can deep understand. It's mentioned some error codes. You see there 4 codes mentioned, and why it's important in the telecommunications. Yes, so it gives you the general definition. It gives you the number of concepts like redundancy, yes, like errors produced during the transmission, etc. It mentions some of them, so you can go deeper, and why it's important. So this is just for the general public. Now, let's go to the high school student. So this is the actual reply from ChatGPT. So he starts telling, assume you are sending a message, etc., etc. So how can you make sure the message is received in the other end, in spite of the interferences, the noise, the errors that occur in the path? So can you fix mistake in the messages even if something goes wrong during the delivery? Well, the student questioned about the Red Solomon. So GPT goes directly to Red Solomon in a clear way to do it. So it doesn't just copy your message, uses mathematics that you will learn in the future, things you will learn in advanced algebra. It's not now to explain you how to do it, but consider this is a kind of polynomial arithmetic that you will learn very soon. And how to explain? You want to send 3 numbers to your friend, 5, 9, and 2. So before sending that, use a special formula that you know and the receiver know as well the same formula. So you create 2 extra numbers using that algorithm, yes? So the check numbers are 3 and 6. Now you send everything. You send the message and the check numbers. If one of the number is distorted during transmission, your friend receiving the 5 numbers can use the same formula and fix the message. So you can have kind of correcting the message in spite of the distortion that was during the transfer. So this is an example for a high school student, how to apply just by sending 3 numbers to your friend. Now let's go to a deeper explanation for an engineering university student. So we must understand that before asking any prompt, you should personalize your prompt. You have to say, assume you are a student of secondary school and want to understand what an error code named Red Solomon is. So ChatGPT understands exactly what you need. So in this case, you have to tell the prompt, say, I'm an university engineering student and want to know why it's important for satellite communication, the Red Solomon codes. So in that case, GPT adapts the reply exactly to the audience that is asking such prompt. Well, there are 5 pages here. I'm not going to put everything by my speech, but you know, it's a kind of more complex explanation, but absolutely clear in every aspect, including formulas and things like that. So the engineering university, after this interaction with the system, deeply understand why is needed and how it's working. Okay, this is the last. And finally, it remarks with advantages and the limitations. So it's quite an extensive explanation for a certain level of complexity of the question posed. It can also be used for other simulations. Assume I want to design an amplifier with this voltage and I want to know the resistor. So the system starts by saying exactly what you have to do. Yes, blah, blah, blah. You see in the black letters, how is the formula? Want to calculate the coefficient and use the formula and get the values, 20 and 5 kilo ohms. So even for a high school student that try to calculate the amplifier of a summing amplifier to get that output, that takes the input of V1 as 0.5 and input from V2 as 2, and want to calculate the resistors. So it goes step by step. Another application, it even shows the diagram. Yes, and also gives the same, you have to use the formula. This is just actually taken from the Gemini reply exactly. I just copy and paste what the system tells you. So it's useful for exam simulations. Let's summarize the benefits. So as you can see, the learning could be very personalized. The system can tailor the contents to the needs of the student. it has an engagement improved because it's more interactive. Yes. So you can go step by step. You can ask a general question. You can ask the system, tell me what I need to tell you so you can solve the problem. And the system start asking, well, I need this information from you. First, tell me what is the input voltage of the pin number 1, and you say 0.5 volts. Then the system replies, now tell me what is the input from the terminal 2. You say 2 volts. Okay, so you know it's the interaction is quite extensive as you like. It's a kind of tutorial intelligence. So you can have a real feedback from what is going on. So it's very efficient in the administration point of view. So you can automate time-consuming tasks for educators. You can see what happened with the exam. Yes. You can grade the exam automatically. You can improve accessibility. So all students, even with disabilities, can access the system, provided they have good internet connection, etc. So there are some limitations, of course. So immediate feedback is very important because it can provide students how are they doing during the exercises. So the great benefit from using AI and Metaverse in the classroom, but watch some risk. It may be perceived as lack of human connection. That is very important to keep the human connection. So if you over rely on AI, you may reduce interactions. That is bad. So be careful. So remember the two columns of traditional and the metaverse learning methods. So you can never use just one column. You may use both. You have to adjust your behavior according to the risk you have to measure, understand, and react. So, of course, the teacher should be educated to use these tools. Otherwise, the student will learn and at a more speed than the proper teacher. So it's embarrassing that the student can make better outcomes than the teacher. So the teacher should be trained and educated in all the tools, and that's not the case sometimes. Uh, you over rely on technology is another risk. So you're over dependent on uh, AI or metaverse. So maybe you forget critical thinking, problem solving skills, and independent learning. So if you all rely on technology, once the technology is switched off, you are in the desert, you are lost. Unless you also develop critical thinking, problem solving skills, etc. We will go deeper in the next slides explaining how to reduce this risk. And finally, the system, automatic system, are some kind of a black box. We don't know what is inside. We don't know if it's difficult to understand how they arrive at certain conclusions. Sometimes there are some hallucinations, some wrong answers. So be careful. It's a black box that sometimes we have no idea what is inside. This is a summary of the benefit. Of course, we have everything good in the central column, but on the right, you may have some risks that educators have to take care, have to consider in personal learning, in the efficiency and engagement, etc., until the educational leadership. So please take a snapshot of these slides and you have how the risk will affect the education. Yes, how the risk. So automation can provide errors and you have to be aware of that. Education can be biased and you must be aware of that. So, quite a lot more job for the teachers, for the professors, but that's the reality. I explained earlier that there are some ideas how to reduce the gap in order not to be away from the actual world. So there are three columns for reducing the gap from today to what we want in the near future, even today, late today. It's quite close. Number one is technical skills. Of course, you need to learn AI, machine learning fundamentals. There are plenty of free courses everywhere, almost 20 different courses, including PMI, Oracle, Udemy, many different places to get free technical skills. So sometimes you need also uh, to teach programming and coding. Yes, so to make your own applications. You must be able to interpret the work. If it is okay, you must judge. You're the man in the middle between the problem and the machine. So you have to accept blindly what the machine says, or you have to interpret and say, no, this is not quite correct. You have to adjust your reply. Please consider this thing. Be careful with cybersecurity. You must understand all the risk, technical risk by cybersecurity attacks. And also, it's important to have knowledge, especially at the university level, of automation and robot. Essentially for industry, if you are engineering, considering to apply your work in the industry 5.0, for instance, well, you need to have understanding of robotics. So digital adoption, digital twins, logistics, etc. So this is all technical skills that need to be uh, ready in the program. Second, and very important, critical thinking, data analysis, decision making, creativity, and innovation. As we said before, this is very important not to be blindly in the session. You must be developing critical thinking. You must make sense of the results and recommendations, detect deviation, bias, etc. So creativity and innovation, well, will never be replaced by machines, but your creative and innovation abilities should be your own strength. So this is a kind of problem-solving skills that may have assisted by AI or Metaverse, but you need to build your own creativity and innovation. Finally, interpersonal skills. Most of the applications for the real world imply human interaction effectively, recognize bias, and ensures fair use. And finally, interdisciplinary knowledge. I told you before, you have to interact. When you were a professional, maybe you have to interact with doctors, with lawyers, with architects. So you must learn to create your skills for interpersonal and soft skills, what is called. So this is also important to build, not just technical, interpersonal, but the analytics. So some examples that were asked by the organizer of this webinar, Paula. Some examples to finish this webinar. Google Classroom, that's one example. Kahoot and ED Puzzle teach students monitor progress and tailor learning in real time. CoSpace, Mozilla Hub, Minecraft, Unity, Twine, and ThinkLink. So these are some examples of actual application that can be used in the new classroom. These are the URLs. So take a picture of this slide and you have the URL of the mentioned tools, Google Classroom, Kahoot, Edpuzzle, CoSpace, etc., and more. Minecraft, Unity, Twine, Thingly. So if you remember, just write the name of the application. It's quite easy, like I did, to get the website and go deeper and see how it works. Okay. This is not free. You need something that can support all this new education. Some minimum factors that don't guarantee success, but they're minimum, are the digital infrastructure, internet access, good platform for the student. I mean, good notebooks, and well, digital infrastructure is one of the minimum factors. Another one, you need to ensure that everyone has access to the digital resources. So some countries have given even to primary school students a free notebook. So maybe some countries are too large or have the population is so high that it's not possible such solution, but some kind of support is needed so that everyone has their own platform, personal platform to access the information. Number 3, teacher support. One of the experiences in one of the countries I will not mention, but you will know quite soon who was. It was the resistance of the teachers in adopting the digital technology. So it's very important to get teachers on your side. So you have to train them, you have get the professional development of the teachers and adapt to the new advancement that will come in the near future, because today is just nothing, just the beginning. But can you imagine next year or the next 5 years what's going to be? Well, nobody knows, but you must be ready for such new developments. You have to consider to have a, let's say, minimum condition of success, the ethical. You have to develop potential, safeguarding, and the risk. So I show you some of the risk of AI and metaverse. So you have to consider including all of them, but also the ethical integration. So the governance, the interdisciplinary courses, etc., ethical training, yes, can get more guarantees for success of the digital education. As a reference, you can have access to this publication, OECD PISA 2025, Learning in the Digital World. Yes, you can also learn the Eta Kappa Nu HKN bridge is an IEEE kind of premium society. And also have to mention that Estonia is one of the top educators countries, aim to equip every student with world-class artificial intelligence skills. That means everyone leaving the education will have world-class artificial intelligence skills. So this is to consider. I'm just ending, and I like to remind the young professionals, please apply for the Metaverse Grand Challenge simulation-based learning. So you have some tips here of which one you could use, but you have to apply to design an interactive simulation, yes, to enhance the learning and training of young professionals and students. Some of the tips are in this presentation, but you may find yourself your own place. So please apply, you are in time, and you receive some travel expenses returns, so you could attend the symposium. Metaverse is going to be in Hawaii. Please go ahead and present your solution. Some of the characteristics of this challenge. So what you will do, who can join, why join. So are you ready to shape the future of learning? Well, take that QR. If you have your phone at hand, please take that QR and join the Metaverse simulation challenge. Okay, just to finish, I recommend the March edition on this publication of IEEE. Is The Bridge, it's a magazine of the Eta Kappa New Society, and it's actually engineering education and artificial intelligence. I would have had this before so I could improve my presentation, but this is so recent that I invite you and me to read this publication that is the last edition of The Bridge. With that, I will stop share and I'm ready if you have any question.
Thank you very much, Professor Gustavo, for your valuable presentation.